There we go, and we're off.
Just have to find the windfish. That's the wrong game, Uncle. I'm never gonna find the windfish in A Link to the Past.
Single green rupee.
Well, that's definitely troll.
It is not boots nor the hook shot. We'll bump up the rupee count by 1. Other than that, not really there for anything else.
Indeed, they get the second one from the bush right outside their house. So only 98 more to go to be able to get Bottle Vendor. And we're off to the magical floating bush. Lift it up, fall down the uncle hole, and let's see what we've got here.
There's the Cane of Burna.
This will be fun.
So as kind of mentioned earlier, the Cane of Burna is going to open up a lot of interesting use of magic manipulation, and wow, there's a lamp to start off as well. Pretty vanilla. They're going to have to kind of make sure they're not using as much magic as possible, because utilizing the Cane of Burna will burn a little bit of magic, and they want to try and shut it off as fast as possible to get their way through escape. Once they do reach the sewers, however, they will be able to pick up several magic pots throughout the area if they do get low on magic.
Indeed, and there's some strats that you can use as far as where enemies are placed based on what direction you're facing. Will kind of give you a little bit of an idea on how to really trap some of those enemies in the Cane of Burna sprite and very quickly take them down. So it'll be interesting to see if our runners are able to do that here, starting with this blue guard in the first basement room, and Roach and Zelda both doing precisely having no problem there.
And the single arrow we get.
Well, getting these troll items out of the way now, at least.
Right, and as you guys probably noticed, the Cane of Burna has an interesting effect, is that it typically sucks in enemies into kind of like a little vortex. It will shoot them across north of your sprite. So players will try to utilize that to their advantage to get key drops in semi-optimal areas, but it is tough in Escape to get that.
Indeed, so you'll see a lot of this, and this is the most optimal way to do it, is get it lined up just so that they're facing up, because you get fewer spins and therefore fewer uses of the magic meter, especially since they don't have half magic yet and they only have regular magic.
Right, and Zelda actually demonstrating that quite well, getting the enemy to spawn closer to the test there when he utilized the cane. Also to note that they both got the bomb drop from the green guard, very friendly for an early back 3 and escape check.
Indeed, and Zelda actually got a full refill drop from one of the guards when he killed it with a pot, so they get a chance to get that little bit of magic used refill. There's a slight discrepancy in how much magic they both have, but both Zelda and Roach should be good to go for most of the sewer here.
Right, and it does take 2 pots over there to take care of the ball and chain guard. It does 10% damage. I've actually seen an interesting strat. I believe it was TGH was demonstrating it before when we were just getting into the new randomized logic. Utilizing a little bit of Burna after a pot crash just to save a little bit of time. Very, very careful on magic though.
Indeed. And oddly enough, the fact that the pots do tempered damage, probably why there's no pots in any of the boss rooms.
Could you imagine?
I want that now. I want someone to hack Cane of Samaria so it just spits out pots and you can throw at my bosses. And that's how you have to beat the game.
Better yet, just have pots as a drop similar to bombs and you just throw pots now.
This sounds like a job for Christos. Christos, get on this, please.
Alright, we're making our way past the dungeon portion of Escape. We're going to be now entering into the Dark Sewer.
Indeed, and those swords on the shelf are only ceremonial, so our runners will not be able to yank one off the wall and use it. And there will be 4 chests here. Getting a little bit of farming there from Zelda on the snake pattern. And next up will be this first chest in the sewer, which you know will not be the key. It's going to be a little bit of love. We'll go ahead, open this back room, and then they'll hopefully, all things fingers crossed, it shouldn't be too hard, get the key off the rat, be able to go and check the 3 chests in the bombable room, and then Sanctuary. We're getting sync now. Very nice.
Oh, there we go. So some more bombs. That's actually very nice to get 6 bombs there. Going to help him out through Kakariko and Southern Hyrule now without having to buy any.
And that last chest had the map, so we know that there's an item at Sank chest that they'll have to pick up. If it had been anything else but the map would have been that Sank chest, and both the runners could have skipped it. And basically neck and neck coming out of the sanctuary here. Very nicely done for both runners. Just a big 20 in the Sank chest, and out into the overworld they go.
Now that red rupee is nice. That's going to guarantee that throughout Kakariko, they are going to get enough rupees for Bottle Vendor now.
You'll probably see a pull of this tree up here, see what their tree pull prize is going to be. And Zelda's at 1 heart, so maybe we just have to be a little bit careful and mind the birds.
We do see blue rupees from the crab. Not very useful. They could use it as an emergency kind of farm if they're close to Zora. But otherwise, it's not really worth. We also do see 3 bombs in the Lumberjacks here.
So that will take the pressure off it being aggro required for an item, but not necessarily not aggro required yet, because there's still going to be a lack of items in the overworld here to give them Dark World access. And that's a nice potion right there. Zelda gonna pick it up, and Roach as well, because that will allow them to check Sick Kid. Plus, it's a free red potion. You know, might as well take it. And as AA is pointing out in the chat, there are options other than doing the Lumberjack Ledge check. It's kind of like the meta one that a lot of people will do, especially when they're starting out. But let me get a triple here. Some bombs, extra bombs for Zelda. And Roach can do the same.
So yeah, just other routes from the beginning from the sanctuary here. A couple of options. The first one would be predominantly the most popular, other than checking out Lumberjacks, would be to just check out Lost Woods. Just go due west, check out Lost Woods, then head back to Kakariko. Another one, the kind of spicy one I like to call it, is save and quit to Link's house and go down to South Shore.
Indeed, because South Shore does have, especially if you have bombs, you have access to the Moldorm Cave. And both of our runners, if they could find a magic refill, would also... There's the hook shot. That's actually nice that they didn't go to the mini Moldorm Cave yet. We'll talk a little bit more about the hook shot's usefulness down there in a moment. 300 rupees, so looking good on Bottle Vendor now for both of them.
Oh, baby. Here we go. Now I wish I was playing the seed. Early boots, 9 minutes in.
Yeah, well, the purpose of the seed is to go fast. Getting hookshot and boots and Blind's Hut is certainly a way to make sure that happens.
And a blue tuning. Very friendly seed so far to start.
Indeed, a blue tunic, or in the case of Roach, it's going to be yellow.
Oh man, get the red tunic, please. That thing's amazing. And Roach going for the chicken clip there as well for the extra swag.
Indeed. So it looks like Roach is using a derivative of the Link sprite, and I think it's the one where the hat color determines the color of the tunic and not the other way around.
Oh, we're gonna get our wish. There we go. Now he's eggplant colored.
Eggplant Link away. Ooh, there's a sword too, so that's gonna be a nice find for both of our runners. Sick kid holding a change of clothes.
All right, so just in the start of the seed, I'm starting to see Boots, seeing Hookshot, seeing Lamp, and a sword now. Both tunics are really friendly. I'm actually thinking we're going to see an early mountain play within the logic here.
I think that makes sense. The only thing we don't have is direct access. Yeah, we still need a glove for that, or the flute, and that's just going to be a little bit of love there at the end of the maze race. Zelda's gonna go ahead and do. Actually, got to see both variations on how to check that, which are either go down and check it, or just do it blind and pick up the item.
Yeah, YOLOing it there and just going for the check saves you, I would say, 4 to 5 seconds. If it is an item that you want. If not, then you just lose a little bit more time than that.
Indeed. We're actually seeing a little bit of route divergence here. I think Zelda's going to do bonk rocks, while Roach is doing kind of the more quote-unquote traditional check here of doing Swamp Dam. Just a little bit of love being soggy here. And Roach looks like he's going to go off and check probably Gina's cave. Well, Zelda is now following up and doing the South Swamp Marsh area. Actually getting to check there's a Master Sword up on that ledge.
That's a great scout.
And the runner has done a map check here. Sorry about that.
No worries. I really don't mind that play with Boots. With Boots or Flute, it's actually quite quick to check that ledge and Agina's Cave here, but without it just takes way too much time walking early on, especially just after Dam. So it's a good heads-up play by Roach.
I would agree with that. I think it's nice to get that in there because you can do it nice and quick. Otherwise, for the most part, you would not do that. Zelga's going to go ahead and use the Sword Spin to get a little bit more speed exiting out of Swamp, and now it's going to go and find much the same here. Roach will go to the right, and we'll get to see why finding that hook shot was so useful in Mini Moldorm Cave here.
I'm actually starting to wonder, because now both players are doing the exact same route, if there's been some scouting going on between the two before the game.
I would not be surprised. It could even be a situation where maybe Zelda, doing commentary, may have commentated one of Roach's races earlier and perhaps knows something or remembers something from that. So far, nothing in Mini Moldorm Cave. There's a bunch of money, a couple hearts, and just a whole lot of money, really.
All the money. All right, and it looks like Roach is going to finish this off with a Ice Rod Cave check.
Indeed.
Now, after Ice Rod, they do have the option here to Fake Flipper towards Zora area. They will have to not check out Waterfall Cave, I believe, unless they do the Jesus Dash for it. But other than that, that's pretty much where they're going to have to lie.
And you're seeing Zelda go ahead and use that hook shot to great effect on the Mini Moldorms. Makes it very easy to clear that cave. You don't have to worry about clearing bombs, lining it up. It's a lot simpler. I wonder if Roach here is going to go ahead and check Bunk Rocks, which we've already seen from Zelda. Yes, indeed. That is the play.
All right, so nothing left in progression now other than Sahasrahla and Eastern Palace.
I think with that kind of figured out, we'll probably see both runners make a very quick journey over to Eastern Palace.
And yeah, he is. So Zelga's going to set up the Jesus Dash here. That's going to allow him to check out Waterfall Cave as well.
Very interesting to see this. Haven't seen it in a race so far yet, so I think it will be very very nice actually.
Yeah, so the Jesus Dash only works when you actually drop down from a north-south cliff. So Zelga, knowing that, just decided to cash out and check the jump at the nearest ledge that he could, which saved up a lot of time there. And he's only going to get the Island Scout here, sees that it's a bottle, and kind of peace out.
Indeed, and over on the right side, we're seeing Roach has picked up the Power Gloves and the Magic Powder, so is Death Mountain access. And we get a very quick map check there. See, it's 2 crystals, and the pendant is at green pendant is at Tower of Hera, so that may yet be an item.
And we get a very important scout from Zelga here with the early Master Sword, other Master Sword check. That will either be Master Sword or Tempered or Butter. It's just a progressive sword that is on Zora Ledge now.
I'm going to see what Zora is holding on to. A very explosive life lesson here.
Yeah, so we know where 3 of the swords already are. Roach might just elect to check out Zora area when he has flippers. That way he can just have best bang for a buck. Or maybe even the Moon Pearl.
Indeed. So you would think if there's going to be an aggro requirement here, because we've already got the lamp and we've already got one of the swords, that there's going to be something that will either point them toward one of those sword locations. So we'll see if they get flippers, or if we get a flute mirror combo that would send them up to the Desert Palace ledge. Just a bottle up on top of Spectacle Rock and a big 20 inside.
Oh, I like this play coming up from Zelga. Zelga is going to option going to Eastern Palace here. A little bit of a play just because you do have East Death Mountain access, and stats-wise, Death Mountain is kind of the better play for quantity of items that you can check. But I really do like the early Eastern play. It could pay off here.
Indeed. And keep in mind with that hook shot, the gloves, and the lamp, that Roach's play to go to Eastern Death Mountain here is completely within logic.
And so is Eastern.
So a little bit of route divergence, but I believe at some point, because Eastern's a crystal, we'll see both runners probably swap spots. We'll see Roach going to Eastern and probably Zelda going up to East Death Mountain.
I mean, if you find the Titan Mitts or the Hammer here in Eastern, it's just going to improve that Death Mountain route so much. Maybe even Mirror.
Absolutely. Because Hammer or Mirror will open up the Tower of Hera for you. It's a bug net. There's the books. That is access actually to get into Desert Palace. So certainly Aga on the table now.
Most definitely is. That will give them access to that Master Sword on Desert Ledge.
With the boots too, and with the fire source, that also means the Desert Palace is completable. So we probably won't see them dive into Aga quite yet with Desert Palace on the table.
No, they're definitely going to scope it out. They won't be able to finish it without a fire source to get all the way to Lamo for that crystal, but yeah, they can definitely get in there.
They have Lantern though.
Oh, whoops.
Yep, I did mention that they had a fire source, but yeah, they'll be able to complete that. It's okay.
Whoops. Blooper again.
It's all right. It's all right, Solsky. I mean, having early lamp usually not a thing I've seen a lot in the runs that I've watched. I've seen a lot of dark rooms from people, especially in Eastern Palace here. So I probably would have forgot just as much. where Zelda's going to pick up the big key from the vanilla location here. Go check that vanilla chest. If it's a bow, we can continue on. If it's not, then we'll see a save and quit, and then I will assume a venture up to Death Mountain.
Oh, that's big. Moonfrill.
Yeah, that's a good find. So both of our runners finding some very nice things here in their locations. And one would assume that Roach will go into Eastern Palace upon finishing up whatever is here in Desert Palace.
And that's great from Zelda, because now that he made that play while he checked out Sash, he just cut down on some extra travel that Roach is going to have to commit to get back to Eastern now.
Indeed, and Beat of Shroot in chat is asking a very quick question. Besides the Lumberjack Cave, what else can cause an Echo required seed? Specifically, not having any Dark World access will do it. So if you don't have the items you need to get the basic Dark World access, which are the Moon Pearl, the hammer, and the first Power Glove upgrade, then that would be a scenario in which you'd have to go to Aga to get into the Dark World. Alternatively, there could be a scenario where you have access to the Dark World, but you don't have access to the right side of Dark World, where the Palace of Darkness, Catfish, and a couple of other things are, like the pyramid items. And for that, you'd also have to go to Aga just to open up that portal.
Right, my favorite scenario for it, and I haven't seen it yet, but Pyramid Fairy access from that Aga climb.
But yeah, of the various Aga situations, the most common ones are going to be either a Lumberjack ledge item or not having Dark World access. Those are by and large the two that are going to be the most common for you to have an Aga required seed. It's a Master Sword for Roach and an immediate dash right into a cactus.
Funny how it doesn't hurt any more than just walking into it. You'd figure dashing into a cacti, you'd be significantly injured on this game.
So one of the interesting things to keep in mind here, both of our runners are looking for that hammer. Barring them not having it, they will get Dark World access by going through Aga, but they will have access to Village of Outcasts because they have the hook shot already, so they'll be able to go across the gap where the broken bridge is and hook shot across to get to the other side of Dark World Hyrule.
All right, so we do have Roach here entering his fight against the Lamellus Worms. Zelda going through Spiral Cave right now. So the question on my mind right now is we have that mushroom sitting there. I wonder if any of our runners are going to check that before committing tagging him.
Well, they have the powder, so they won't need to do the fake powder if they ever had that. So they could turn it in without too much penalty. And I think I'd go for it just because it's a quick check. It's one less mark that you have to go ahead and do. You don't want to have to do Aga and then go do the turn in for mushroom and then find out, oh hey, witches had the hammer the whole time. Dang, I didn't have to do Aga at all. Right,
some players do like to option to hold on to fetch quests such as the mushroom, if they get kind of quicker access to that witch's hut.
I think we're going to see Roach go ahead and pull the option to go turn that in, though. It's kind of a nice little bit of info. Either you get something of value and you can keep going in the seed, or you don't and you've used up all of your overworld locations and just have ag left. So one of the other things to keep in mind here, even though it looks like that, ooh, there's a tempered sword. Well, we know all of our sword locations.
All right, so the advantage that Zelda had on that Zora ledge is no longer worth, because Roach is also making his way to Zora with a tempered sword. So he's going to scout. Oh, what? Never mind.
No. One of the things to keep in mind as far as location here is that even though it looks like Zelga's behind, Zelga has checked more locations than Roach and has also picked up the Moon Pearl by going into Eastern Palace, and it looks like Roach will now go ahead and do that check real quick. And not weird in these seeds to have a situation where you find all of the swords and know where they all are, and find all of the males and know where they all are, and find all of the shield upgrades and know where they all are too.
Definitely a free seed for equipment so far.
Yeah, that was as a commentator, that was a race I called last week where that happened. So this is the second time in the last couple of days where I've seen that. Not uncommon at all.
And of course, you'll have the odd seed that goes like an hour and 15 without a sword.
Indeed. And then you have to check like every location to find your first sword. And then when you get that first sword, it just opens everything up.
Yeah, those are the worst. For runners, at least. I'm sure viewers love them.
Well, our viewers also happen to like pedestal seeds, so that kind of tells you everything you need to know about how bloodthirsty they are sometimes.
I actually haven't seen that many pedestal seeds lately either.
There's been kind of a dearth of them, but I'm sure at some point we'll see more.
Right now, Zelga's lining up for his Lamo fight. Actually setting up some bombs to do some extra damage for him.
And Roach is going to be getting his Moon Pearl here very soon. Zelda, I'm going to be interested to see what does Zelda do at this moment. Are we going to get a skip of the mushroom turn-in? We're going to get a mushroom turn-in, and then both our runners will be heading off to Aga around the same time here. Okay, I think we got our answer. I think Zelda's going to go to Aga real quick. Or maybe not. I think what still would be in logic here.
He's gonna go catching the mushroom here using a flipper trick that I absolutely love.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That's actually a nice shortcut.
He actually used a really cool lineup there using a bonk. I gotta remember that one.
Indeed. And using the reverse hand-in strats. Roach hasn't checked. I don't think Roach has checked Ice Rock Cave yet. Seems to be heading down that way.
Nice. It looks like he's going to be setting up for Fake Flipper here with that pearl, and he's going to be checking out the Zora area. He wants to check out the Waterfall Cave before he commits to Aghanim.
Indeed. So, good to see it. Zelda does have a small lead here. Both our runners are checking all the same locations, but Zelda getting through it a little quicker, it looks like, being able to go ahead and immediately dip into the Aga fight.
It does appear that Zelda did win the first battle here on time, just electing to check out Eastern early and save himself all that extra travel. Roach gonna get the Scout of the Butter Sword here as well, which is kind of funny.
Indeed, it will be interesting to see if either runners ever bothers to come back for that. I would doubt it. Usually with Tempered, you're good enough.
Yeah, there isn't much advantage gained by getting Butter. In fact, it actually lags your game a little bit more. Bosses where could really be helpful, or maybe Cold Stare, Trinex, Vitreous. Other than that, Tempered's good enough.
Yeah, if we hadn't found the upgrade there on the push and chop turn in, I think maybe they both would have come back for that, because that's a lot better to have than to go into a Ganon fight with Master Sword.
All right, so with Roach just about to enter into Hyrule Castle again, Zelda about through the midway point in the Aga Tower climb.
And again, what makes this possible is having that Master Sword or higher, and also having the lamp. One of the few dark rooms in this game that I think you'll see a lot of runners, regardless of skill level, not try to do in the dark, because it's too painful. There's too many moving variables to really keep track of everything in the dark.
It's definitely one of the toughest dark rooms in the game, for sure. Dark Maze, what really makes it difficult is the fact that the railings there are so close together that if you're kind of moving diagonal, you won't really clip in to the pathway you want to. You're just going to keep going like up or down just because they're so narrow. All right, how many blue balls are we going to get from Aghanim tonight?
I'm gonna say 4. I think we've determined that through math, the most that you can do with a successful Aga fight is 15, because you'd have the first one's always a regular, and then for that 15, all 3 of the next ones would have to be blues.
I'm gonna say 4. I know my is a little late, but that's my pick.
Well, we're already at 2.
I think 4 is the minimum at this point now, with those 2.
Oh, we're actually getting bug net strats too.
And there's 4. Zelda, of course, keeping extremely good rhythm here, slashing to the music, and misses a swag dash. That might cost him with some blue balls here. Oh man, this is a good time for Roach to catch up now. So that would have been it with that energy ball hit there. Oh, and another blue ball. So yeah, he's gonna have to go through another cycle.
I
There we
believe
go.
that's 6, so I think our correct guesser in chat will be Jim3798. So good job, Jim. You correctly guessed 6.
Well, I mean, Zelda seemed like he influenced that blue ball game with own personal interest in mind, missing that energy ball. So,
Indeed.
we'll still give it to him though.
Yeah. Also, shoutouts to Mind Distorter, who did say 5. So, also correctly guessing without that one extra miss in there.
Okay, so with Zelda having the Dark World axis here, he's going to elect to go north now. And yes, he is going to check out Quakefish. So that was one route option. The second route option, the most popular, would be go just west into Village of Outcasts and Skillwoods area. They also have the greedy option, I call it, and that's going to pod without the bow.
I like the Catfish play because they've already been up here in the Light World, so there's not a very solid time to come in and route this. And Catfish can, even though Catfish only has one item, Catfish can have an item of value that's progression. And I've seen races won and races lost by checking this at the right time or wrong time.
Yeah, walking away like it was the red boomerang, then noticing it's the blue boomerang and decides very wisely to grab it.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. You might as well spit it out. Grab it. Getting a check here. So red and blue pendants, respectively, are going to be at Pod and Skull Woods. Our 2 red crystals are Ice Palace and Turtle Rock.
So with T-Rock being a Fat Fairy Crystal, there's a very good chance the seed will not come into play, mainly because we haven't seen both rods either yet.
Indeed. For that to come into play, you would need to have something like a Meyer medallion missing at this point.
Ooh. On the right side here on Roach's screen, he's going to play greedy. He's going to go to Paw without the bow.
No, it might not be a bad play. If you end up getting a knock key out of that first chest, then you know it's bow locked Pod and you don't have to come back here until you have the bow.
Luckily for him too, if he does know how to do that, the potion wrap, he can do it. That will give him full access to Pod without the bow, minus Helmasaur.
Correct.
And dare I say that actually might be influencing his decision making here. I feel like a lot of players like to go to Pod early now without the bow, just because now they don't have that punish of, say, big key or an item in the first chest.
And he just haven't quit, so he's not going to grab the potion glitch. Meanwhile, Zelda, using a very nice little clip there through the spikes with the hook shot.
Yeah, hookshot's a very nice item to have here in Skull. Makes it much easier and actually a lot faster just to hookshot across these gaps.
And Roach gonna go do the catfish check now as well. Zelda, meanwhile, going to Village Outcast. Gonna check T-shaped house first. Picking up a little bit of love.
And on Roach's side of things, he was considering not picking up that boomerang as well, but yeah, no, he's going to want it.
Yep. Meanwhile, the game there, the chess game in Village of Outcast, does have the Quake Medallion. Don't know if we need that yet, but it's nice to find.
Zelda did appear like he wanted to go into Thebes, and he might actually put it off without the hammer here. No, but he's going to dash in. He might just commit to first 4. He might commit to a full clear. I guess we're going to see shortly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here. I think he put it off for a moment there just to go check the brewery chest there beforehand. Get the 3 chests in town and then go check the rest. Ooh, vanilla dungeon.
Yeah, we do get the Titan mitts here in the second chest in Thieves Town.
It's going to be very helpful for getting some of the Dark World East Death Mountain stuff now, as well as with a Fire Rod or a Bombos medallion opening up Ice Palace. Not completable as well, they'll still need a hammer for that to be able to get the gold stare.
And kind of the quirky option, it also opens up a Smith's Purple Chest with a mirror, which not a friendly option, very time consuming, but it is there within logic.
I think both of our runners might wait till they have the mirror to do that, simply because of the fact that you can route in a whole lot more stuff doing the chest carry there down to our old friend Gary. And then you can also probably, with the book, get in a Bombos tablet check as well. So maximization of the item location checks is always a plus if you can do it.
Absolutely.
You want to maximize your routing and minimize the time you have to backtrack and go check stuff.
And Zelda is going ahead and answering our question here. Will commit to the back part of Thieves. So he's going to attempt for the full clear and hope that a small key gens in the big chest or a map or compass.
I've already got the small key, as a matter of fact. There's the flute, so that's
big.
Good decision. Yeah, very good decision to go back and grab that. I will actually give Zelda access to the mire area now. All located within one dungeon, both the Titan Smiths and the flute. Roach unfortunately ending up in a very tricky situation there with the Wallmaster. That was a pain in the butt. There's the Candace Samaria. Wow, this is turning out to be a wonderful play for Zelda. Not going to be able to check that last chest.
Yeah, this is a stacked Thieves Town.
I think, though, and this... Maybe we'll get a chance to check on the screen here if Zelda switches items. I believe that the only 2 items left might be compass and map. So I think it's okay to skip that.
So finding Titans, finding Flute, finding Red Cane. I wonder if the first place you're going to check is going to be Mire after this, and maybe a South Route and Tide Cave option.
I think that's a pretty smart call here. You'll be able to get the Spike Duck immediately afterward just by saving and quitting, going back to the Light World. But actually, we're going to go see Zelda go do some location checks here. Maybe do dig game and then come back up, grab the Bullfrog. Or, no, maybe... Oh, yep, gonna go ahead and do that. So dig game first. Maybe go talk to Stumpy, I don't know. And then go ahead, get our frog friend, save and quit, go back to the Sanctuary, wrap around, go do that, and then go back to the Dark World, do the chest stuff, and maybe get a mirror out of all that at some point. Then you can go ahead and immediately continue on. If you can't, just save and quit, go back to your house, and go from there.
actually getting that +5 arrow capacity almost out of bounds, which would have been kind of funny. I don't believe it can go fully out of bounds, but it looked pretty close.
Ooh, Zelda's actually going to do the World Tour with the Frog. So we can go see Stumpy and Hype Cave. And whoa, there's the flipper. Stumpy, you had something for once. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to do.
That's just like a nightmare, and I can't wake up. Seeing flippers at Stumpy again.
Sounds like this has happened to you, Solsky.
Round 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rip. So we're gonna get our Hype Cave check here. Here's the meter.
That's
wow.
Good start. Okay.
That's swamp access.
You know what? Here's the 5 out of 10. I'll say for that.
Zelda, thinking about saving and quitting, actually is gonna elect to extend his check here now to Bombo's. Very sharp heads-up play by him.
Yep, I like this. Get this out of the way now instead of having to do it in just a little bit.
On Roach's side, we have a little bit of a swag burn-a-dash there until he unfortunately ran into Spike, which would have canceled it.
So unfortunately, not having the flute yet means that we're gonna have to see a save and quit here from Zelda. Or not. Gonna go back to the Dark World for something. Or maybe just gonna dash all the way back and do all of the things in Kakariko.
Oh, he's gonna go to K45. Yeah, he's gonna route it back north.
No, that's probably actually a pretty good play. You get all this stuff on the way back too, so good decision.
It is, because he's gonna get K45 here. Cash in his flute, drop off Smith, and then get his purple chest. Now he can just flute to 7 and drop that off as well.
Some very good routing choices from Zelda here, just as far as kind of like the micro plays he's making. Yeah, definitely some really good awareness on remembering that, hey, I don't have to save and quit and go back to Sanctuary yet. I can still check all these things. It might not be as quick as saving and quitting to get one thing in here, but he's able to pick up multiple things that as a whole are better than saving and quitting and going to the Dark World and going back and do all those things again. So, again, really good job here.
Agreed. Pound for pound just leverages his bets or his checks here and will make the road so much more cleaner. As you mentioned, not as fast as maybe just kind of bailing and going to a Dark World Death Mountain, maybe for chest per minute, but right now this is the correct play, I would say, just getting this all over the way.
And indeed, now with that flute, he'll be able to go ahead and mirror, as you mentioned, Solsky, and pick up the chest on the way and just go ahead and flute back to 7 to very quickly turn that in.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's alright. I was going to say, then he can even flute to 6 and go do a mire dive real quick.
I was about to say, on Roach's side of things, we had a very nice blind play from him. Finishes off blind for his second crystal as well. So now him and Zelda are even.
Even on crystals, Zelda's got a slight advantage. You're actually going to check in powder as well. Okay, that's not a bad decision.
Yeah, the good decision making just keeps on coming.
But yeah, really getting all these routings in here, and Roach is not necessarily behind in behind on dungeons or whatnot. we're going to see a lot of the same things, I think, checked here for Roach that Zelga's already done. Just maybe in a different order, or maybe in the same order. And we'll have to see here.
Yeah, looks like Roach is going to elect to pick up that Smith as well on his travels to south.
Yeah, so both of our runners kind of taking a similar path here. Very interesting. That means Roach should pick up the flippers in just a moment off of Stumpy. And then probably head over to Hype Cave. We'll get rewarded with the mirror. And it'll be interesting to see where Roach goes from there. If he goes over and checks Bombus. Doesn't have to. There's nothing to value there. I just missed that real quick check from Zelda.
Looked like Quake.
Yeah, indeed. Roach is going to go over and get his mirror now, so certainly is still a very close race between these two. There's the bow. It's hiding out in Checkerboard Cave.
This seed's falling into place nicely.
Yeah, I think both of our runners are actually doing a really good job following the plays. They're both kind of following the same path here. I think Roach may go check Bombos as well. Fortunately, it's just a big 20, so it doesn't have to. But very likely will anyways.
So we have a tremendous amount of options available to both our runners right now in the last 10 minutes of item finds. I mean, they have now Pod completable if they want to risk the pendant. They have Eastern available, maybe as a double dip combo with Mirror, Dark Old Death Mountain, Mire that Zelga is entertaining right now. We also have Swamp Palace available, so a ton of different areas they can check.
Indeed. As far as where the race is right now, a lot of people are saying, well, it looks like Zelda's in the lead, and if they're following the same pathing here, then yes, Zelda would be in the lead, making the jump into Misery Mire. But certainly Roach is not that far behind, even though it might look like it. Still doing all the things that Zelda's already done, and we'll get all the same items, and very likely we'll end up taking a similar path to get to Misery Mire, I would assume. And yeah, Pod is not completable yet as well, because we don't have the hammer. We're still looking for that hammer.
Right, just to recap, the very, I would say, minor route divergence so far between both our runners was that Zelga actually entertained dipping Eastern right away after Sash, getting rewarded with the Moon Pearl, saving some time there off the double dip into the Eastern Palace area. And Roach also elected to check out Pod first for a red rupee in the first chest, burning a little bit of time for him as well. So if you're looking for reasons why there's a little bit of a time gap, that would be it. Very minor stuff here. So they're both very well in the game.
Indeed, it's certainly going to be something too where Zelda will be going and checking that left side on Pod, I would assume at some point if he's still looking for an item. So we'll see on that. Could still even maybe do a deeper dive into Pod now with that bow. And Bombos was only, for those wondering, it was only 20 rupees, so not really anything of importance. So looking at what's left, possibly to find, and what's left that could be on pedestal, it's not much. It's can't be so based on what we're looking for, can't be hammer, can't be fire rod. Need both of those to complete the pendant dungeon, so neither of those would possibly be on pedestal. Ice rod, certainly a possibility. Ice rod can be just about anywhere in the game. Could also be a Bombos or Ether if that's going to be required to get into Turtle Rock. We're seeing our first little bit of divergence here. Roach is not going to be going over to Meyer at the moment. Maybe not. Maybe he hasn't done a flute yet. Yeah, hasn't done the flute yet, so gonna be doing that. The other possibility could actually even be that the shovel is sitting on the pedestal, and that shovel spot actually has one of the aforementioned items, Ice Rod or one of the medallions, and you have to get the shovel to go get it.
Master Shovel.
Stranger things have happened. So until we find that fire rod or we find the Bombos medallion, we do not have access to Ice Palace. We have access to get inside, we just don't have access to get past that first freeze ore. And now we are actually seeing some divergence here. Can you get Graveyard Ledge check from Roach?
We're seeing some excellent execution on Zelga's side, doing away very quickly with the Vitreous Meaning Eyeballs, going for the centralized eyeball now with the bow.
I think we're going to see King's Tomb from Roach here. Chat's asking when we're going to see a Faces of Evil or Wand of Gamelon rando. As soon as somebody has the power to reverse engineer a CDI, I think that's when we'll see that.
I'm going to pin that at 0% chance.
Yeah. It's hard enough finding people who actually play or run those games in the first place, so...
Alright, and Roach electing to go to Dark World Death Mountain first, and Zelga now finishing Meyer is going to follow suit. Still looking for that hammer. I did mention Swamp earlier as a play, and then I kind of forgot, hey, they don't have the hammer yet. Whoops.
That's indeed correct, but a little bit of a sigh of relief. The hammer cannot be on the pedestal, so it's got to be somewhere that is accessible right now, or within an item or two here. We will probably also get a very quick dip into Hookshot Cave and a check of the Turtle Rock Medallion, so we'll be able to answer a couple of questions here very soon.
Here's the Ice Rod.
No, that's not good for your pet hopes, everybody. And it's Quake. Okay, pet's done. Pet is dead. Sorry.
It's a pretty free location for the Ice Rod, so now it seems like the items remaining are predominantly logic driven. And it's seeming more and more like it's going to be potentially a forced dip to pod.
Yeah, because before you want to ask, well, couldn't Bombos be on the pedestal to get in the Ice Palace? Well, yes, but you would need to have the fire rod to get through Skull Woods anyways, so once you have the fire rod, you don't need Bombos. We're going to get a check here from Roach of the... Actually, both runners are going to go ahead and check that Ether tablet.
both these runners are routing extremely close to each other. Other than maybe some minor divergences.
Yeah, the only real divergence here we saw in the middle there was Zelda going and completing Misery Mire and Roach doing some more overworld checks. So there's about a Misery Mire clear difference between the two right now. Could still certainly go either way at this point because we're still quite a ways away from being anywhere close to go mode. See, both of our runners, I assume here, Roach has already set it up, but I assume Zelda will set up as well. The coffee break right over here. It's kind of a coffee break, but also not really, because it's not really long enough to go brew a. Well, gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way there, but not really long enough to go brew a cup of coffee. Even a Keurig, it takes a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, it's literally enough time to run downstairs, get a soda or water or something, and then head back up. That's about it.
Well, we don't know. Maybe these runners are playing in the kitchen. They've got the fridge right next to them.
That would be extremely optimal.
Yeah, chat mentioning, well, Fire Rod could be on Cold Stare, but yeah, you're gonna need that Fire Rod to get into Skull Woods to get to the pedestal anyway. So that's a no. That being said, there could be all kinds of interesting items still on Pedestal Seed. Could have a shovel that leads to something like silvers, or silvers themselves.
Maybe it's the red boomerang.
That would be fun. Get some bonks back across the chest there. With the runners going to be going up to Moldorm with the Temper Sword. This should be a fairly nice and clean fight from both of them. A nice little bumper clip there. Has anyone seen Moldorm around here? I'm kind of looking for Moldorm. Anyone seen him?
Yeah, he's gone. We do get the green pendant from Moldorm here, so they are going to have that check at Sahasrahla. And because of the way the seed's kind of routing, it is almost basically a forced Eastern pod dip at this point. But on Roach's side of things, he's going to need to go to Misery Mire to get that bow at Checkerboard Cave.
You may actually do the turn in here first. That's one of the things to keep in mind, is that we know it's at Checkerboard Cave. Roach and Zelda obviously have no idea where any of these items that they're looking for are. So that's kind of the oversight that we have as commentators. We know where to go, and we can be like, oh, he's got to go here and do this, but our runners are kind of in the dark on that, and both runners at the same time getting a little bit of love. So this seed absolutely still has the potential to be very trolly. It's about their runners not going up to Hobo.
Man. They just keep finding ways to kind of red on top of each other. This is actually really good for Zelda having that crystal advantage right now.
I would agree with that. It'll be interesting to see if we'll see Zelda go ahead and check some of the locations that Roach has already checked in the overworld. Just finding a big 20. Big 20 sink. Roach is going to go into Misery Mire now.
Yeah, outside of the poaching glitch, Roach is specifically out of options now. It's basically Mire area or bust, whereas Zelda now is kind of exhausted his options other than Green Pendant and a pod and finish of Eastern. Still no hammer.
Yeah, so still, despite Zelda having this dungeon advantage right now, still nobody's. I mean, there is an advantage here for Zelda, but it's still not, you know, a for sure ironclad advantage at this point. It could very easily melt away. Roach has acquired the bow.
Also appears he's going to option on over to Mire now as well.
It'll be very interesting to see if Zelda goes and checks those overworld locations. At this point, while Roach is going ahead and going through Mystery Mire, this will certainly be beneficial to Roach here, completing the one dungeon that Zelda has as an advantage over him at this point.
Have we seen a bumper cave scout from either of our players?
I don't think so.
That's another part of the puzzle that could really come back to haunt either of them because they haven't checked that out yet.
Mm-hmm. So who wants to put shovel up on Bumper Cave Ledge?
Gotta chase that fetch quest.
Mm-hmm. This is why I'm not allowed to do plandos, because I come up with awful ideas to torture people with, apparently. I believe Zelda is going to go into pod.
Chat pointing out actually that Bumper Cave was checked for 50 rupees, so we know that's not an option. So at this point, yeah, it's definitely pod. Now, the question is, what do we find in pod? Do we find the hammer, or do we find the fire rod, or maybe even bombos leading to ice, perhaps? Or, as you mentioned earlier, could be that dastardly shovel. It could be hiding some of the progression.
As I always say, if you find a shovel in a dungeon and it's the end of your progression, go to the dig spot right away, because that's where your progression is. If it's in a dungeon that's somewhere deep within it, still go to the dig spot right away, because there's probably something there.
Alright, Eastern does have one more item left, so Zelda is going to wisely check that out first, being the Crystal Dungeon. Doesn't really want to overcommit on the pendant just yet.
And Roach actually going to go ahead and check a couple of places. It looks like Zelda did not pick up a second bottle there. And very nicely go ahead and potion and powder that anti-fairy. Almost said potion it because I was thinking potion bottle. Yeah, so if Eastern Palace turns up empty and we're still looking for access in the Ice Palace or in the Hammer, then we're looking at the possibility of first chest and swamp. Looking at the possibility of pod play, obviously. And I feel like that's about it at the moment. Unless somebody wants to make daring play into Turtle Rock, which I would severely doubt.
No hammer as of yet.
Because it could be Troll. It could be, say, sitting in Chain Chomp Room at the end of that quest, and it could be a double dip TR. Oh yeah, you're right. You need the hammer to get in a TR in the first place. Darr. So presumably they'll have to find the hammer somewhere else before that.
Alright, so Zelda going to find his 20 rupees here in the first chest. Will be able to continue on through the rest of Pod with the bow. Will not be able to take out Helma without the hammer, though, unless it is here in Pod. Meanwhile, we do have on Roach's side, he is about to enter his Vitreous fight.
So yeah, I would expect that Roach will go to Pod after this, because Roach has already done most of the things that Zelda just went and did, so they're pretty even on location checks here.
I was actually a really greedy second spin, and there's the hammer in Pod. Wow.
Well, Jack called it. I think they were talking about hammer being in Pod. Another vanilla item in its vanilla dungeon.
So Roach finishing off his Vitreous fight quite nicely. He's probably an option Eastern Pod right now, as I believe he's out of options other than that. Zelda will be committing to, looks like, at least a partial full clear of Pod. I'm not sure if he's going to go all the way for Helma if he does have an item on him or not.
I think he's just looking for the half magic's not bad find. I think he's just looking for a fire rod or bombos, perhaps hiding out somewhere here to get access in the Ice Palace. As I almost say, Eastern Palace. Having to take the long way. I believe this will be a pod play as well. Just having to take the long way because no hammer, so no really easy way. Maybe checking something else on the way.
I'm pretty sure he's checked North Road. Maybe he's checking Bumper Cave.
Yeah, I think he may not have. No, he seems to have checked it, so just going a longer way, I guess.
It definitely could get disorienting running with the hammer this late in the seed. Probably just slipped Roach's mind that he did kill Ganon and would have had the faster access to the pyramid there.
Zelda bouncing out of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I believe he did find all 5 items, so yeah, he's going to option right to swamp here.
Pretty good call. There should be, in theory, some kind of fire source with some kind of Ice Palace access within Swamp Palace here.
There's one other spot that got opened up with that hammer right now. Well, a couple, but the main one being an overworld, the hammer pegs.
That's true. Could be hammer pegs. Maybe even a super trolley turtle rock dive.
Yeah, Fire Rod and T-Rock at this point would be pretty spicy.
So what is the trolliest path right now for Fire Rod? I see a couple people in chat being like, "Oh, it could be Bombos and Turtle Rock, and then Fire Rod is in Ice Palace." Ooh, that's pretty trolly. I think I can do a little bit better than that. So go ahead. We'll put Bombos and Turtle Rock, and then we'll do Ice Palace. And Ice Palace has the cape, and then the cape will perhaps remind them to go up to. They do have the Can of Burners, they can do this right now, but perhaps remind them to go up to Spike Cave, which has the shovel, and the shovel has the Fire Rod.
Diabolical.
Indeed. Now they could do this right now. They could skip out some of that because they have the Can of Burn up, but a lot of times you forget about it until you're like, oh yeah, the cape. Oh yeah, Spike Cave.
So, if I recall seeing this right, Roach got the hammer and pieced out.
Yeah, interesting. So he won't get the half magic, but that's going to save him some time here going through Eastern Palace. He's still behind, but he's not going to do the full clear of the Palace of Darkness that Zelda pretty much did.
It's pretty telling for me just as a viewer. It almost seems like Roach might feel behind, so he feels like he might need to make a play here. Leaving a pendant pod like that with a couple of items on the table is a little scary, but with the hammer now unlocked, it does actually open up more of a percentage play elsewhere.
Indeed,
so it's not really a gamble, it's more of just a decision he had to make there.
Indeed, and since we know what's in the rest of that dungeon, and the only thing that's of value is going to be that half magic, which really is more of a utility. It's not a necessity to beat the game, especially with having 2 bottles. You probably will be able to carry 2 potions very easily. It's certainly not going to be an issue, I think, of Roach running out of magic here in that Ganon fight or in GT.
Still no progression in Swamp Palace.
Maybe right here. Oh, maybe on Argus? Maybe?
Like, I know the seed's been awfully linear to this point, but if Roach made, for whatever chance, makes that play to T-Rock, and it's Fire Rod or Bombos, like, we could see a little bit of a shift here, if not just balancing out the lead.
It'd be very interesting.
And Zelda entering in the Argus fight here. Tempered Sword makes for a very decent fight.
Yeah, Roach is going to follow Zelda right into Swamp Palace here.
Definitely say the safest of the plays available.
You've got Ice Rod strats there. Double Ice Rod into a Spin Slash. That will do a very nice number on Argus. It's actually a nice little trick.
I was hoping for a second he would pull off the quadruple ice rod spam, but still goes for kind of a little bit of a taste of energy there.
Zelda is dipping back in. I think gonna check those left side chests.
Yeah, so Zelda playing it safe here will be committing to that left side, as you mentioned. Very few options at this point, really. Like, you need either bombos or fire rod to progress, other than hammer pegs or that T-Rock dip.
And I think if we're item counting correctly, both of them should be items. So I think we've only gotten 4 out of here so far.
Right, and they do have Spike Cave, as you did mention as well.
So both runners are in Swamp Palace at the same time. Zelda's obviously going to be in and out very quickly here. Just checking those 2 left side items. And yes, our runners are basically now both a fire rod away from go mode, having a hammer. So it's kind of a race to see who can find it first. And keep in mind, Roach has pulled back a little bit of time here on Zelda, just with some better decisions on when to dip out of a dungeon. Zelda doing a little bit more of pod, and Roach having a later double dip back into Eastern Palace, and plus having to double dip into pod versus Zelda's just initial clear having the bow. And the first chest, just 5 arrows upgrade. What's in the second chest? It's got the mirror out, getting ready to get out of here no matter what it is. Just a little bit of love. So again, if Roach wants to make the gamble, I don't know if you're going to make the gamble here, with it being a crystal dungeon, but if Roach makes the gamble that left side is trash, and indeed it is, could make up some more time here.
Yeah, and again, if he does feel behind, he might feel compelled to make that option play and just not check out left. That's a pretty steep play at that point.
It is. It's a huge risk, but it's a big reward if he does it, because we happen to know, just from being able to watch your Solsky, that there's nothing there on the left side. There's no reason to go check it. Unfortunately, Roach doesn't know that. Zelda does, obviously. Zelda has gone back and made that play.
We have seen, or at least I've seen, Fire Rod quite a bit here in Hammer Pegs, so I'm going to be interested to see if it spawns in here again.
We are kind of running out of options here for where this Fire Rod could be.
Oh, it's red, but not what we needed.
And a different kind of red item, unfortunately. So it looks like Zelda will be going up to Death Mountain here.
A little frustrated with those slashes. I mean, you're down to Spike Cave and T-Rock for Fire Rod, so totally understandable.
Yeah. Looked like he was thinking Spike Cave for a moment. Yeah, he is thinking Spike Cave, okay.
One kind of nasty scenario I can imagine right now is if Spike Cave has bombos and Fire Rod is still in T-Rock. That'd be pretty brutal.
Indeed. Well, we'll get an idea of what's in Spike Cave in just a moment. And the Fire Rod is in TR, then that means that Bombos may not even be within the map. It may be inside of Ganon's tower.
There it is.
So at 1 hour, 24 minutes, 49 seconds with that Fire Rod, Zelga's in go mode. It's go time. Let's go to Iceland Palace and Turtle Rock.
Oh baby, Roach making the play to skip the left side swamp as well.
Indeed.
So does he go to Spike Cave or does he go to Hammer Pegs?
I think it's Spike Cave.
He's going to Spike Cave. This is so good for him.
I hope. I think he's just doing a dash.
Oh
No, he's going to TR.
No!
He's going to Turtle Rock. Oh no.
Oh, this is disastrous. If he doesn't remember about Spike Cave, this might be the end. Yeah, he must definitely feel behind at this point, just to make all these kind of plays. Like, to leave pot on the table is one thing. Skipping the left side, you're like, okay, he's committed. But now following up with the TR play, it's basically no breaks for him at this point.
We got the dead rock into the onion there.
Now we might have that other scenario. What happens if, like, I mean, for T-Rock not to troll that bad, it would have to be a very quick T-Rock to kind of minimize the damage here. But if it strings him along with small keys and the big key vanilla, I mean, that could really cost him some minutes here. It'll take him all the way to Laser Bridge and Mimic Cave. Oh.
Yeah, so for Roach's sake, he's got to hope that first chest does not have a key in it. It just has a flat item, which will trap him from being able to progress any further. Interesting setup there from Zelda. Actually, I think using the Cane of Samaria to help kind of get ready for doing the bomb jump. Oh boy. Oh, it's a key.
Oh man. Yeah, every key is just going to add time that Zelda's going to gain on Roach at this point.
Yep. Now we'll get to our first barrier, I guess you could say here, which will be the Chain Chomp room. If there's a big key in here, or if it's not a key, then that will be another signal to Roach to get on out of town. Oh no.
Oh no! I mean, you gotta feel for Roach here. I've been in this position personally as a racer. I'm sure many others have been. It's such a tough position. Especially with getting all these small keys, you're like holding out hope. You're like, oh, I might run into this fire rod or even a bomb post, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. Jet pointing out too that Zelga's keen play that I was talking about just a moment ago, not actually a play, it was just the wrong item to have. He had the wrong item in hand when you went in there.
Nah, he just invented some tech on the fly, guys. It's okay.
Indeed. New strategy.
He totally meant to do that. Let's see what's in the vanilla big key chest in TR. If it's big key, that's really bad news. Okay, that's good. So at least it's gonna kind of point him out now. The time he's gonna lose about 2.5 minutes just coming back up to the mountain and going back into TR now.
Yeah, so he'll go over to Spike Cave now though for sure. Really? He's indecisive about something. What are you doing, buddy?
I know what he's indecisive of. Oh no!
Oh,
he has access to Mimic Cave, so he's gonna go for it.
Uh-oh. Mimic Cave, oh no. So yeah, we had about a 1 dungeon gap earlier in the race, and Roach kind of pulled it back quite a bit. And then, whoops, we're back to a full dungeon clear ahead.
That's heartbreaking. And Zelga is going to be entering in T-Rock now for 7th crystal.
Like, if it was in Mimic Cave, this would be such a good play. But Zelda would probably also be up here at that point.
And on top of that, don't forget, Roach does have options in Pod and Swamp remaining too. So, although it did look like he's going to Spike Cave afterwards, there's no guarantee that he actually does go there.
Yeah. Especially with having to go back to Light World. Might end up skipping it.
Luckily, it was not Bombos there as well, just because it's going to hopefully put him on the correct path. Right, so he's going to heal, and he does have Hookshot equipped, so that is good news. He is going to be heading on over to Spike Cave now.
And there's that shovel. Okay, Roach is going to do Spike Cave now, so Roach will he'll be a little bit sad about this, but well, possibly a little frustrated too, maybe that he went and did TR instead of going over here first, right when I had the opportunity to, but we'll be in go mode. And at 132.19, Roach is at go mode, so that is about a 7.5 minute difference at this point for go modes. Oh, Roach is going to just go get some safeties, it looks like. Probably fill up on magic. Can't say this is a bad idea with only having regular magic.
Yeah, definitely a safety more to cater towards magic here.
Gonna do some damage just to use that red potion. And now dipping into Ice Palace. Well, Zelda is making very quick work of Turok.
And Zelda does have a small key here, does have an option to kind of skip on Vanilla Big Key Chest. Sorry, not Vanilla Big Key Chest, the Big Chest, but is electing to do so. Kind of a safer play, just in case the key is here.
Yeah, and indeed it is.
So we did know that a piece of heart was in the Vanilla Key Chest, so we do know there will be a key in either the Switch Puzzle or Laser Bridge.
You can get to see some very nice go mode Ice Palace here from Roach. Presumably will include a bomb jump as well. Well, Zelda is now on to Trinex in just a moment.
All right, pretty decent phase 1 on try next from Zelda. He's going to be setting up for phase 2 here with the spin. And try and get 2 hits here, but does miss the timing on the slash a little bit.
Already got that hook shot out. A nice job with the menuing. Roach is making very, very nice progress here through Ice Palace.
And there's that red boomerang.
It's our favorite boomerang. Warning statement may not actually apply to all runners. So, with that, Solski, would you like to tell the fine people in Speed Gaming 2 about a little game that we have here?
Yes, we have a game we like to play in the Link to the Past randomizer community, and I gotta say this real quick because he just fished from T-Rock. Get your guesses in from numbers 1 to 22. We like to guess where the big key is in Ganon's tower. Of course, you can play this game at all, any way you want, but for scorekeeping kind of setup, you need to either have 250 bits or a subscription to Speed Gaming channel.
Yeah, that'll just get you on the leaderboards.
Right.
So you can play along if you don't. You'll still get fabulous prizes in the form of Herfy Durfy's love. What little is left of it, I think, at this point. It's kind of been used a lot. You get 2 there.
Small keys. Do we go right side? Nah, we're gonna go left.
We're at 3. So keep in mind, it's 22 item locations, not necessarily chests. And unfortunately, because we're already in go mode here with all of the items that would be needed for safeties, like boots and whatnot, we don't have the opportunity tonight for a glorious GT double dip or a big chest check. Both of which are fairly rather rare delights, but still excellent nonetheless. When you run across those as a viewer, as a runner, you hate that.
Right.
So we're at 8 now. No big key yet. Roach is heading back up to Turtle Rock.
So we'll be a little bit quicker for Roach to kind of progress through Turtle Rock because he already got all the way to vanilla big key chests, but he's still quite a bit behind from Zelda at this point.
So on to Snake Room here for chest number 9. Just a key. Please advance. Now approaching Rando Room, which is the room I always guess. I always usually pick my lucky number, chest number 12. Yeah. People asking, why is Zelda picking up that little bit of love? Doesn't really need it with red mail and 13 hearts. That should be more than enough to take care of Ganon. There's Ether. You're in rupees. Nope, not in Rando Room. You must continue on. If it is on the right side, and Roach goes ahead and goes right side first, then he'll be able to make up some time. I just think given the advantage that Zelda has at this point of having a full dungeon cleared ahead of Roach, probably a little bit too much time to catch up just with the right side play. It's certainly not over. Even here in GT, execution is going to matter a lot for Zelda getting through this quickly.
That was chest 14, was it not?
Yes, that is 14, so we're on to 15, 16, 17. Back here behind the Armless Knights. And we're just going to have to go around to get that key in the big chest. Thankfully remembering. So I think the one thing that looking at this. Nope, it's on the right side. Okay. Well, there's a... Oh, he's missed a big key. Which is on the right side. He missed that entirely. He skipped it. So he's gonna have to go back out again.
Uh-oh, Roach, don't do it. Oh.
Yeah, Roach is going back around to go to the right side and get the big key out of the torch room there. The roller room on the right, I guess you can say. Yeah, so this will be really... This will put him a little bit further behind as well. There's the riot shield. Not yet. Bombos.
There's Bombos.
Oh, it's in tile room. You guys were looking for a little bit of trolley tonight. Guess what? You got it. So it's unfortunate for Roach because with it being a tile room here, that would mean a huge time save if you were coming into GT right now and just chose to do tile room on the right side for whatever reason. And you would be surprised if you think you're behind, you might make a risk like that. Probably the riskiest play you could make, but sometimes it pays off, and it would have paid off tonight. I thought that magic cape. Can't use the magic cape strat, just gonna have to dodge all the tiles. Got rewarded with the big key. So.
Okay, thank God. Roach is going to continue on in TR here. I was worried he was going to try and mirror out and go for a portal that wouldn't be there.
And there we go. Oh, congratulations once again to Alpha Channel, who adds another notch to the board there. Up to 10 wins now, Alpha. Congratulations.
Just cleaning house this tournament.
I'm a little surprised that Zelda didn't guess tile room. He's got four wins himself from being in chat. I guess it must not apply to when you're running the race, only when you're watching. But Zelda now up through Gauntlet here, making very quick work of the various rooms in here, leading into the ice portion of our journey. Nicely done. One more room to clear. And then land Mola's fight.
Alright, so there's a key in the puzzle room as well for T-Rock, so Laser Bridge would not have a small key at all. And Zelda, of course, needing to resort to spins and slashes here, he is quite low on magic, will be able to carry him out through the first torch room and the Mimics 1 and 2, but had to just cut use there. Right, Roach entering in his Trinex fight. Zelda going through the Torch 1 puzzle. Alright, question remains if Zelda continues to check chests here, hoping for silvers, and nope, is just going to say no thank you.
So apparently Zelda very confident with doing the tempered silver list, and I would imagine that 4-1, most of our runners with this record probably will be very comfortable with doing that.
He might actually be concerned at this point where he wants to just try and save as much time as possible, not opening up these chests, because he did essentially full clear the game, doing left side, full clearing pod minus Helma. So he might feel a little behind here.
Yeah, a lot of runners tell you, especially the ones who win, will tell you, man, I felt behind the whole game. So it's certainly not an uncommon feeling. You really never feel like you're ahead when you're running these seeds, so a lot of times you'll just kind of dash through as quickly as possible, either believing that the other guys are on your tail or that you're behind, even when you're not. Nice double. Start with the Agatu fight.
Kind of a tricky second pattern there, especially with the blue ball coming at you.
Did you find the silver arrows in the Mushroom Kingdom? They're in a completely different game.
I mean, if they said Planet ZBs, I would expect them to be playing that combined rando hack, but not this tournament.
No, not this time around. It's all part of our plan to lure Zeus into the wonderful world of Link to the Past. Wait, what? You're supposed to say that. Zelda on the Ganon fight. Yeah, I think there's not a lot of thinking inside the box here, so that's stupid. Already into phase 3. So Zelda does have the red potion, still saved up from earlier. I'll likely use that now.
Nice time for it.
Indeed. You got 2 swings in, there's 3. And number 4, so on to phase number 4.
Right. Where'd you hide it? In Dark World.
Dark World. Okay.
So, where would that be?
Good question. Let's think about this for a moment. Pyramid.
That's it.
I was like trying to think.
That's the worst spot for it too, with Turok Fairy.
I was like trying to think. Well, what locations haven't we checked in the Dark World in the seed with these 2 runners? I'm like, we haven't checked the Pyramid Fairy. That's got to be it.
Yeah, that is our only overworld check that has not been checked this race.
At least in the Dark World. If it was Light World, we'd have a couple more possible locations, but this was a fairly full clear, and Zelda finishing up with the final spin.
Solid fight.
Very nicely done. Roach is working through GT right now.
Alright, and Zelda finishes with an official SRL TV time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 15 seconds.
Indeed, get those GGs in chat, everybody.
Yeah, and with that, Zelda improves to 5-1 and has just made the brackets.
Yeah, no tiebreaker this time for Zelda to get into the bracket round. Going to do it on record alone.
Definitely a pretty fun and interesting race there. Was particularly linear for probably the early and mid game, but then kind of spiced up there with that kind of odd placement of the fire rod and the hammer. So definitely a fun watch, I'd say.
Indeed, and shout outs to Rocket for the sub there. Thank you very much. Did anyone check Pig Cave? Yeah, Zelda did, and it was just the big 20. So that ultimately turned out to be nothing. We'll work on getting Zelda in here in just a moment. For plus race interview.
And we are joined by Zelda. GG's.
GG Zelda.
Hey, GG's. What a thing.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't even know where else to start with that. That was an awful layout of item chain.
Yes, it was. And I think Roach is gonna go ahead and give up here with it being in tile room. I think he's just realized that maybe it's just a little too far behind and doesn't want to go ahead and go through the rest of that grind right now. But that's okay.
I'll be honest, I felt behind going into GT, and I almost went straight to tile room just from the way this was.
Indeed. I think we'll get Roach in here in just a minute too to talk about the race as well. But yes, congratulations by the way, Zelda. You've made the bracket at 5-1, so no tiebreakers this time around. Get in purely based on record.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm just very happy to go ahead and be moving on. This was not the type of seed that I would want anyone to have to decide their tournament life on, that's for sure. But obviously, I'm happy with the win, and I'm really looking forward to the brackets.
All right, and we are going to be joined very shortly by Roach as well. All right, Roach, welcome, and GG.
You, Roach?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I played horribly. That's an understatement, actually.
So I want to throw one word at both you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong. Linear.
Extremely, and I hate seats like this.
Yeah, this was a straight line. I can't call it a conveyor belt, but it was super linear.
Yeah, it was indeed fairly linear. And in fact, you guys were actually both pretty close for a lot of the race. There was a little bit of a gap toward the middle where Zelda had about a dungeon lead, but Roach you made some very wise decisions on when to jump out of some dungeons, especially Pod and Swamp Palace, and you had definitely reeled that back in quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I knew I was extremely far behind at that point, so I just had to take the gambles and just like, nope, gotta pray it's not here.
Well, those were actually up until going up to Death Mountain. Actually, those were definitely the correct plays there.
Me entering Turtle Rock 4 times because I'm an idiot. Yes, it's total 4 times I entered the dungeon.
Yeah, that fire rod was not in a location that's necessarily easy to remember up there in Spike Cave. Because usually that Spike Cave check is fairly trolling. It's not always progression.
I I usually check a lot earlier, just as a gamble type thing, but with getting the hammer so late, I completely forgot about it. Until I was like, I'm up there, I'm like, oh wait, that's right, I can do Mimic Cave. It's like, oh, that's right, there's still Spike Cave to do. No!
Yeah.
Definitely a tough spot.
And the reason I actually ended up forfeiting in the end instead of finishing is I realized I didn't have enough arrows to climb Ganon's tower. So I was like, yep, I'm good.
Oh yeah, you've only got 4 on there, so that would not have been enough to get through the 2 rooms with the red gorillas.
That's the reason I didn't finish up. I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. It was bad.
It's all good.
My
Happens
worst
to the best of
match.
us.
My worst match of the tournament by far.
I mean, the way the seed worked, there was just no good way to do it unless you were just had the god read and potion glitched into pod like as soon as you did Aga. That's like the only way.
I was actually about to. I entered pod the moment I entered Dark World. I went in there, got immediately bow locked. I had the potion, that red potion I gave you early on. It's like, I could do this. But it doesn't want me here. I'm not going to be here yet.
Yeah, it's
And I
really
decided to bow.
yeah, it's really tough to kind of read those plays early on because it's it's not always obvious that there's progression in a bow locked Palace of Darkness, especially when you guys don't have the bow to go ahead and continue that. But indeed, it was fairly linear throughout here. Even with the loss of Roach, you're still 4-2. Still have a really good shot of being able to make the brackets. You've got a week 7 match, so you're going to have a plan against another 4-2 opponent. So even though this seed was a little bit rough, I think getting the 4-1 and then even get the 4-2 definitely have a lot of skill. So got a little bit of time here to shake the little bit of cobweb, not cobwebs, but the bad feelings from the seed off. And
I got 2 weeks to do that now.
Indeed. So that's maybe not the result you were looking for tonight, but you should definitely have a lot of time to get ready for that week 7 matchup. So is there anything that any opponent perhaps that you're looking forward to? Maybe in a 4-2 matchup? Anyone that you want to go up against?
Don't say me.
Solskjaer, just because he did that. I wanted him. I actually wanted to face Solskjaer this week because he's taught me a lot of rando. So
you've learned a lot in a short period of time, so it is impressive mechanically and just routing wise too. Like both you and Zelga routed that so beautifully in the mid game, getting the mirror and knowing what to do with it was really impressive to watch both of you guys do that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to hear it was a good race to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely an enjoyable race. Getting to see you guys go through the seed and execute as maybe routing wise, there could have been things that could have been done a little better, but as far as your dungeon execution and whatnot, it was when you got into those dungeons and were able to go through and clear them, you guys did them very, very well.
All right, so you guys have any final thoughts?
I hope I beat you next week, Solskjaer, if I face you.
Please, no.
Don't let Willard know. He might make it happen.
Oh, it's already been said.
Yeah. He'll be calling up. He'll be calling up challenge and be like, "Yeah, can we just set this up? Solskjaer versus Roach."
Well, Solskjaer would have to lose.
It'd be awesome if I did win my match tomorrow and then like Roach gets up paired with me. Whoops.
You'll just lose and we'll face each other next week anyway. Win or lose.
There you go. And we'll both in bracket.
Well, it's been a fun race. Thank you guys both for running. Yep. Anything else that you just wanted to say here before we wrap things up?
Not really, but I can say there's a huge list of runners I'd rather not face next week.
All I got is GG's, Roach, and good luck making it into the brackets. And thank you guys all for the commentary, restream, tracking. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Zelga, we'll get our rematch in bracket stage. Don't worry.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you both guys for being in here for the interview. Thank you for running and letting us commentate on your race. just a good moment to remind everybody to go ahead and follow both Roach and Zelda.
I hate the game right now for what just happened.
Both putting on a pretty good show, even though the seed was a little bit trolly at times tonight. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. I appreciate it.
And with that, that's going to wrap things up here. If you guys enjoyed what you watched, we do have the tournament going on throughout this month and next. Of course, we're going through round 6 and 7 of the Swiss. That will be culminated with the 128 person bracket following thereafter. Will be hosted continuously through Speed Gaming 1 and 5 and a Link to the Past Randomizer channel 1 through 4. So if you guys enjoy what you're watching today, go ahead and give them a follow just to kind of follow along with the action throughout this tournament and other tournaments put together for Speed Gaming as well. I've been Solsky.
I'm Neon Tiger. Also, go ahead and follow Solsky and our tracker Magic Jade as well tonight. So, as always, good luck, good night, good luck, and good RNG. We'll catch you next time.
I'm never going to forget Crash Bandicoot again.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Peace, guys. Later.
Night.